Hi, welcome back to another episode of STL Real Estate Roundtable. I'm your host, Jaden Barr, CEO and team leader of Keller Williams Realty Chesterfield. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, Tiffany Hamilton.
Hi.
Tiffany, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, obviously, we've talked, in depth about your business over time, and it's just been so fun to see you grow, and
Thank you.
it's a cool connection to have. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Right. So excited to learn more about your business today and let everybody else learn more about it too.
Perfect.
Cool. So we'll start off. What got you interested in a career in real estate?
I kind of fell into real estate. I went to school after I graduated. I'm from St. Louis. So once I graduated, I went to university out in D.C., American University, and studied international marketing and thought I was going to go into corporate America. And I actually did for about 3 months and hated it. In Chicago, it was cold, and I was just, this is not for me. And around that time, my mom was starting a real estate company, and I said, I'll try it. It sounds like flexible hours, so... And got my salesperson's license, and at that time you could get your broker's license immediately, so I did everything. And then 20 years later, this year, I'm still at it. So
this year is 20 years?
Yes.
Okay.
I think like March, maybe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. That's great. So you did work in corporate America for a short period?
Yeah, for like 3 months. It was very, very short. And
Okay.
the happiest day was when I gave my resignation and it said I'm leaving to do real estate.
That's awesome.
Hope for the best. Yeah.
Okay. So what was your exact role whenever you were working for those 3 months?
I was in marketing for an educational company in Chicago.
Okay.
And just using my marketing skills.
Okay.
It's very basic, and I like Chicago in the summer, but then when it started to turn cold, I said, nope, this is not for me. And my parents were like, you sound miserable. And I said, I am. And that's when I decided to come back to St. Louis and look into real estate.
So your first real estate experience wasn't in Chicago, it was in
No.
St. Louis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was just, I needed something to do, and it sounded like there were flexible hours. So I said, it sounds like a good match.
That's great. So I think it's always interesting. I think very few people just wake up and they know, hey, I want to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
It's it always starts with, okay, job in corporate America, job in sales or marketing or bartending or whatever it is. And then eventually people kind of find their way to real estate.
Yeah.
And then it changes their whole world.
It changed everything. I thought I'd come in and work limited hours, and now it takes over my entire life. But I love it. I didn't realize getting into it that I really focused on learning the ins and outs, and I didn't realize I'd end up being really good at it. And then that made me want to do more and more of it. And here we are 20 years later. I would have never thought I would be a realtor. I never said I wanted to be a realtor growing up, but here we are, and best life decision ever. So.
Yeah. So take me through the 20-year career so far.
Yeah.
What are some lessons learned or keys to your success, you think, over time?
So when I first got into it, I was like, this is amazing. Wow, that was probably around 2005. Yeah, 20 years. 2005 was when I first got into it, and I really shadowed my mom. Everything she did, I just followed her. I soaked in the language she was telling clients. I was reading contracts, marking them up, just making sure I really understood. And then she threw me a couple clients and helped me through those transactions. But I just, going into it, made sure I understood fully the ins and outs of real estate as best as I could. I didn't really build systems. It was just more so understanding the language and vocabulary and how to write a contract. And from there, that was, mid around 2005 to 2008. Things were great. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then the market crashed. And I was like, oh, shoot. I'm living on ramen. I can barely make my bills. This is horrible. But I love the flexibility. I found that I love real estate. But, what do I do? And so I literally sat down with myself and gave myself a pep talk. You either get out of real estate and get a job, or you're just going to have to really get super focused and figure out how to make this work. And because I grew up in St. Louis, but coming back, I look young. I'm 40-something, right? 42, and I look really young. So imagine at 21, I looked like I was like 10 years old. So a lot of people didn't trust me. And then anyone that my parents knew, they were my mom's clients. So, and all my high school friends, they were in different states. So I really had to reinvent myself. Pretty much I focused. I made sure I made it a pack. I'm going to go to networking events, 2 to 3 networking events a week. And until I've networked my way, to clients. And around that time, I didn't have Facebook, but Facebook was becoming popular. It might have started becoming popular toward the end of my college, but I didn't have it at that point. But I started a Facebook page. And my marketing mind, I studied international marketing. So I always thought, how can I stay in front of people? So I'd go to these networking events 2, 3, 4 times a week, join so many boards and organizations for young professionals, because I really just had to build an audience that wasn't there. And every time I went to these networking events, people would say, oh, where's your business card? And I hate business cards. If you give me a business card, I'll throw it away. I'll lose it in the bottom of the purse. I'm not thinking about it. But I thought, and this is the very beginning of Facebook, I'm going to tell people I don't have a business card. What's your Facebook page? And we would connect at these networking events in person on Facebook. And now I'm in front of them forever. Mm-hmm. So once I started doing that, my next goal was I have to create a Facebook presence. So I knew at least 3 to 4 times a day, because the way the algorithm worked at that point was you just would post, and your post would fall down to the bottom every time you posted, and other people posted a newsfeed. So I just made sure every time someone would log on, there was a post about real estate. So whether it be I'm working a house deal, I might share every single step of that house deal, from inspections to going under contract, appraisal, all the way till the end. And that one house might get 20 different posts about it, right. But people saw it was working, and people want to work with someone that's, a working realtor. And during that time, a lot of connections were made, and that's how I made a lot of connections through these young professional groups. And then I was introduced to a couple of major rehabber developers in Tower Grove and Shaw at that time, and it kind of escalated from there.
That's amazing. So many like golden nuggets that I had in there that I want to touch on real quick. Okay. So one is you just did whatever it took, right?
There was no
survive,
failing.
Right?
Like I needed to eat. I needed to pay my bills. Right. My parents, I'm very blessed, came from, very economically stable, well-off family. But my parents were like, no, you're of age. We're not giving you money. We're not saving you. Either you make this work or you get a job that you get a paycheck. And I was determined to make it work.
Yeah. That's one thing. I think what did I see in the news? Was it like Shaquille O'Neal? He tells his kids, I'm rich.
Yeah, you're not rich. That's exactly.
I'm rich.
That's what my
you're
parents would say. Yeah.
So, I think that's hilarious. That's great.
It built character.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So that was one thing, right? Doing whatever it took to succeed, because you had no other option.
There's no other option.
And I think with the market that we're kind of heading into, right, it's a shifting market. Yeah. It's a little wonky right now, to say the least. And so, we're definitely not there yet, but I think it's starting to head more towards a balanced market, and not what we've been used to in the past 3 or 4 years. And a lot of agents out there are checking out. They're saying, it's getting hard, it's getting tough. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'll go do something else. And I think the agents that double down during this tough season, if you can survive through that, then you're going to come out the other side so much stronger. Right?
I completely agree. I know that 2008 to 2012, 2013 time period during that time period, I had built contacts, but think about it. A lot of buyers were not buying because we were in a major recession. So I had to shift in my mind, who is purchasing right now? Investors. So I need to focus on those investors that are buying these properties up maybe in Tower Grove South for $100,000, and then they guaranteed, because I'm saying if I'm being loyal and trying to find properties for you, then you better have me relist this property. And if I find out you don't, then I'm not working with you anymore. And I'm the hardest working person right here. So they would say, yes, okay, I agree. And so then I'm marketing myself and being very visible and growing that's how I got more into the listing side, because when you first get in, it's harder to get to that listing side. But by partnering with investors and then relisting their properties, these gorgeous properties that we'd resell at the time maybe for $3-something, it was propelling me into that market, which opened up a lot of opportunity across the board, I would say. But that down period, really, I said, if I can survive this, I can survive anything. And the buyers out there that were looking and seeing them still constantly posting, oh, it's a recession, and she's still selling, she's still doing business. When we got out of the recession, it was time for people to purchase. They said, I want to go with that person, because they didn't just pop back in when things were good. They were able to sustain business, and even if it was the hardest of times, no one saw it. I would just go on with a smile and just post as much as I could, showing as much business as I could.
Yeah, which is a great tip for new agents out there that maybe you don't have the level of business that you aspire to, but you can look busy very easily via social media nowadays, right? You don't have to have the biggest following. It's all about, perception is reality, right? So even if you aren't busy, like you said, and you have one client, blow up your social media feed with all the things that you're doing on behalf of that one client, because that one client's going to turn into 10, 100, and
and treat that one client like they are the king or queen of the world. You don't go in with 100%. I always go into every transaction with 150%. There better not be any doubt in my client's mind that Twin Cells STL, me and my sister, were the best realtors they could have chosen. And I make sure I send them the Zillow link, and they do their review. And if you go on our Zillow, we have over 70 or 80 reviews, and every single one of them are long paragraphs, multi-paragraphs, and they're all 5-star review. And so then that feeds to random people coming to town wanting to do their research, and they see you have all 5s, and people are praising your name. The business starts to work for itself.
It speaks for itself,
And where a lot of agents are paying all of these companies for lead generation. We don't do any of that. We don't advertise. We don't do lead generation. I say about 98% of our business is repeat and referral business. And the other 2% is someone randomly looking on Zillow for an agent and comes across our reviews and calls.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I love to hear you say that. That just made me really happy. Yeah, I think the lead aggregators, they are very costly. They're not gonna convert at the level that the sphere leads and referrals are going to.
Yep. And I learned that early on in my first couple years of real estate, because I was just trying to get business anywhere and everywhere, and I would do expires, and I'm not saying expire. Some people know how to work expires well, and door knocking and all that, but I don't do door knocking because I'm scared I'm going to get kidnapped. I'm not going to do expires because I don't like calling random people, but I just don't like doing that. It's just not for me. But in my early days, I was looking at my business, and I would track business based on that millionaire real estate agent, and I would do the 36 touch and everything. And I would say, where's this business coming from? And I noticed I had a lot more road bumps with someone I had zero connection with, that maybe I got through and expired, and they just didn't know me well. Whereas a client that referred someone to me, or I knew in passing, that saw my Facebook page that maybe we've never done business, but they saw that I do business, I get them to closing every single time. And that model has really, I was just talking to one of my lenders, but that model has really helped propel us to where we are today. Our business is growing. Our business means Twin Cells. It's just me and my twin sister, and she does more of the marketing side, and I do the client side. But that business model has made that transition with all the new commission rules and everything that's changing, where you have to get a buyer's agreement signed immediately. I've literally we picked up 3 new buyer agreements over the weekend, and a couple of them were saying, "Oh, this agent's trying to push this buyer's agreement, and I just don't know them that well," and blood. And so I called my friend and said, "Do you have anyone to recommend?" And I'm going to go with someone they recommend. And literally, this agent apparently that's been trying to push a buyer's agreement on them for 3 or 4 weeks. They call me after a 10-minute conversation. Her and her husband signed an agreement with no thoughts because people feel comfortable with someone that they've been referred to. Mm-hmm. And I make my clients understand. They understand your best interests are I'm thinking of your best interests every time we go out. I will be brutally honest. I will not be scared to tell you, I know you like this, but this is probably not a good investment. You know, it looks like it might be a lemon based on everything I'm seeing, or and people value that kind of honesty, and then that translates to them wanting to refer to other people.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So awesome. So what I also heard is that you're super intentional. Like you're analyzing, where's my business coming from? How do I double down on what's working and get rid of what's not? Yeah. And then you also were really, really strategic with, okay, yes, the market's down like in 08, 09, but there's still people buying and selling every single day. Who are those people? How do I get in front of them? And I think that, we're coming out of a year where we had the lowest number of sales, I think, in the last 30 years.
Oh, really? And I think we did our best year last year.
Right. Well, it's a testament to you. And like I just said, the intentionality that you bring to your business. You run your business like a business, which a lot of agents fail to do. And so the record low number of sales from 2024, people can look at that and say, oh, my business is down because there's just not as many homes being sold. And
people are always buying now.
There's people buying, there's people selling every single day. And there's a sign in the yard, and there's no excuse for why it's not yours, right? And so, there's business out there to go and get. You just got to go.
So you have to reevaluate every month because everything's changing constantly. Where is the business coming from? People are still buying, selling. Yes, it's not going to be the move-up buyers that often because they're holding on to their 2 to 3%. So who's selling right now? People that are getting divorced. People that are relocating. So we shifted our business really heavily into relocation the last couple of years because those people have to buy and sell. Yeah. And then older people that are downsizing, that business has grown as well because a lot of times still need to move. They need to be in a condo. They don't want multiple levels. They want something smaller, more maintainable. So that's important. Also, another thing I always tell agents, which I think people don't really think about this, but a lot of agents may focus on a specific area, or I want to be a luxury agent and I'm not doing anything under $1 million. And I've always pushed back and said, I think you need to diversify your clientele. I think you need to I usually don't keep more than 2 investors just because, especially right now, the market, there's not a lot of inventory and I don't want to have to decide what investor I'm giving what property to. It just gets really complicated. So I learned that a long time ago. When I dealt with a lot of them, people were getting mad at me. My investors, they're going to buy. Usually we're going to do 2 to 3 transactions a month through them buying minimum. And then I know first-time home buyers, sometimes the market is for first-time home buyers, and those are the people purchasing. You have to have your sellers. You have to have, sometimes the luxury, multi-million-dollar clients, those are the people that are purchasing. And then other times you have your first-time home buyers that are more purchasing at a given time. So I think if you diversify who you service, depending upon where the market is, you'll always have clientele for that market.
Mm-hmm. You'll have areas where you can double down.
Yep.
And
really focus. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, there's agents out there that might be watching this that have gotten to, or they aspire to get to, your level of success. And whenever you're at your level, you can't do everything yourself. And even if you try. And so what are some examples of leverage that you've added into your business that kind of help you be more efficient with your time?
My twin sister, I've tried different people to help with the team, and I have trust issues. Like, I want things done a certain way. If we say we're going to provide this type of service, I don't want anyone slacking, and I probably overmanage, which is bad. But I brought my sister in, so she does a lot more of the marketing and the client relations and making sure we're staying in touch with our clients. And I'm still in front of all of our clients, taking them out, going on the listing appointments. If I want to go out of town and my sister's not going with me, then she'll hone in. And then open houses, I don't do open houses. I hate doing open houses. Clients know that. That's one of the first things I say when I'm going on a listing appointment. Is not a hidden secret that I don't believe in open houses. I don't think they work. I think it's just a way for agents and clients, which is fine, but I just don't want to do them. So I hire someone to do one of our agents within Hamilton Group Realty, which is really a super small agency, but I hire someone who she loves open houses. She will do two a weekend if I ask her to, typically, and for a few hours at a time. And so then I'm able to provide the seller with open houses they want and have that home available for people to see. But then I'm able to, rest a little bit. Scheduling is so important. I live with my calendar, a paper calendar, and with my phone calendar. I make sure they interlock and stay in sync. It's so important to have a calendar and be scheduled. I make sure I wake up probably about 5 or 6 o'clock every morning. If I wake up past 7, it's probably going to be a problem. It means I'm not going to have a productive day typically, because I need to be very scheduled, focused, get all my calls and emails in before 7. And as soon as 7 happens, usually the phone starts ringing and my day goes who knows where. And then I'll come back home and then do more paperwork or contracts if I need to write those. And that's literally every single day except for maybe Mondays. Mondays I try to just do paperwork and not take appointments. Mondays and Tuesdays I try not to take many appointments. And other than that, but if someone calls, I told you the other day I was off. I said, I'm not working Martin Luther King Day, I'm taking it off. And I found a listing in Clayton, sent it to a client, and I knew it wasn't a rush for them to purchase. They said it'd be a long-term thing, maybe in a couple of years. And they wanted to see this property. I said, okay. I knew it wasn't going to turn anything, and it did end up turning into over 500,000 sales. So you just have to be available when the clients are available, because you never know what's going to happen with that appointment.
Absolutely. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about some agents saying, oh, I just want to work with this type of client or this clientele. And you never know who the client in the area that you don't want to service, or the type of client that you don't necessarily want to focus on. You never know who they know.
Oh, you never.
Right? Especially if you're running a referral-based business. Like, they have people in their network that are buying and selling all the time. And so, to limit yourself just to a specific type of client, and
the pathway, the path's going to lead to so many different types of clients that you would never imagine if you just say yes and you're open to. But one thing I've learned to, over the years, set boundaries and set expectations. So I know my clients have expectations of me and what they want from me, but it's also important for me to set those boundaries and expectations with them, and make sure everyone's clear
on how valuable
my time is, and make sure we all understand the goal and what's realistic and not. Because if you think, maybe the budget's $300,000 and we want to be in Clayton, and we're not going to spin our wheels. Like, I need to go over and set expectations. This is what we can get for this area and this. And if you want to try to expand that, we'll do that. But I think that clarity and those honest conversations and not being scared. I find a lot of agents are scared to have these conversations, but I think a lot of buyers and sellers respect you 10 times more if you're very clear, honest, and transparent with them. They crave that. These clients crave that information and knowledge, because for us it just rolls off our tongues, but for them we forget that they don't do this every day, and the more information we can equip them with, the more confident they are.
Couldn't agree more. So what, for 2025, as we're we're in the middle of goal setting season and New Year's resolutions and everything we're 2 weeks into the year, so most people have already failed their New Year's resolutions. But what do you envision for your business in 2025 and beyond? Like, what's the goal? What are you working on? Are there any challenges that you're currently working through to kind of improve on? Because we've given a lot of like sunshine and rainbows, right? Business has always been great, right? But what are some obstacles? Because I think people look at you, they're like, oh my gosh, she has an amazing business. Yeah. I just want that. Yeah. But I know that this is a tough industry. Like there's always something that you can make better. Yeah. So where would you say your focus?
As business has grown, it's harder to keep those connections with past clients, can keep people engaged, and just you're always you're as good as your last deal. So I'm always thinking 4 or 5 months ahead. I have spreadsheets of what clients are predicted to sell, who's an immediate need, who's more long term. And so it's kind of just making sure we're doing intentional, we're just being more intentional with staying in contact and fostering stronger relationships with our past clients, because we know without them, they're 98% of our business, the repeat and referral business. But we want to show our gratitude, and we don't take anything for granted, these referrals, that they give us. And it's so hard to do that because as the years go by, that client list grows more and more. And I feel like we've gotten a little disconnected from some of them. So we're doing more intentional dinners for clients, client events where right after I leave here, I have a walkthrough at a venue. We're going to throw a huge circus for clients. So just kind of stay more connected so the clients see, we're growing, but we still care about you and we still value we see you. And I've learned that goes so far. Just I feel like as a society, we just don't show our appreciation because we're all go, go, go. And I've learned when you stop and show appreciation for those that have helped get you to that success, it just makes things blossom even more. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. So with being a referral-based business, do you have any systems or processes for around generating referrals, or like, if you get a referral, do you have any sort of like appreciation or anything like that?
Like we send VIP clients, meaning they're just constantly saying our name and they're constantly referring us. New Year's Eve, we always send a huge round of chocolate-covered strawberries.
Ooh, okay.
And just thanking them.
You have a system?
I have a system.
You have a system?
We send our calendars out at the beginning of the year. We have random one-on-one client dinners, sometimes. And then, as I said, we have groups of people like this one financial wealth company. They just send us clients all the time because we've worked with a lot of the people that actually work there. And so now they're sending us to a lot of their clients. Okay. And so we'll throw private dinners for them sometimes and just really show our gratitude that way. But initially when I started that book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it said I had a spreadsheet. It was easier back then because I didn't have that many clients, but I would literally, every time I did a touch, like send an email that said, Happy 4th of July. I made sure I got 36 touches in every year for these clients. And I was tallying and writing notes as to how I touched them, And now it's more fluid because we're 20 years down the road. We're just naturally, at least every other day, we're getting a call of someone that wants to talk real estate or they're thinking about purchasing in the future. So now it's just really organic, and we're just trying to maintain the business we have to a high level versus we're not in the mode of where are we going to get our next client. It's just, it's there. And I can already tell last year we did record-breaking numbers for us, but I can tell this year, just based off of January, this is going to be, I can't even imagine where we're going to end up because the amount of people on our client list and that we've already closed in the month of January is pretty high. So it's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. And we had a client dinner for about 35 to 40 women And we wanted to make it specifically Black women just because I'm Black. You know, Black. My sister is.
You are?
And yeah, one of our lenders is. And we just wanted to show appreciation, you know, going into Martin Luther King weekend and everything. Yeah. And it was so weird because everyone stood up. And this was so organic because I think people like to work with people that they feel are genuine and just kind. And everyone at that dinner said, everyone in this room is so nice. Everyone was your client. And everyone just introduced themselves. I was like, it's going to take forever for everyone to introduce themselves. But everyone stood up and started introducing themselves and started saying how they knew us. Oh, Tiffany sold us 3 houses. Oh, you know, I just closed on a house yesterday with them. And just from that, you know, people were like, we're going to refer you. I have that night, someone sent me a referral and I have a call with them on Thursday. So it's just like,
who you are is who you attract.
Yeah, who you are is who you attract. And I always say there's so many realtors in this business and we all do the same thing. We can all pretty much write the same contract and throw the sign in the yard and put the super on. But it comes down to how well you can connect with your client, other people, and other agents even. So, you know, because all that works together and getting your deal accepted, you know, being someone telling you about a house that's coming on the market versus them keeping it, you know, to the chest before they throw it on the MLS. So all of that, if you're your genuine, authentic self, and that shows up in different people all the time, people crave that because in sales, sometimes we can come off too salesy.
Yeah.
If you come off as too salesy, people are guarded and they don't, what are you trying to sell me? Why are you trying to sell it? But if you say, I'm literally trying to help you and your interest is my interest, then, you know, it all works out and you just organically see it grow and the sky's the limit. It's just so crazy how you see that happen.
So you've mentioned the Red Book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller a few times. So what I hear you say is that the systems and the models in that book actually work.
Oh yeah, that was like my teacher for the first 4 years. I would not go anywhere with that. It was always in my bag. Like I haven't read it in a few years, but the systems, I think I systematically have it ingrained in my brain. I think the way you can lead to a most successful real estate career is by staying. People make our business. It makes or breaks your business. You know, you get bad reviews, it can break your business. If you stop staying in connection and contact with people, it can break your business. So just constantly, when social media was newer 20 years ago, that's how I stayed in front of people. Now it's different because everything's muddled with social media and people don't really pay attention to it as much. So now we're doing more in-person client events because people are losing that connection.
People crave community. They crave connection.
Right, because everyone has moved to social media over the last while. So you just kind of have to shift and see where the world is and see where your clients are and then genuinely shift based on where we are.
Yeah. Run your business like a business.
Exactly.
Right. That's a great way to wrap it up. So my last question, I know your time is valuable. I ask this to everyone, but what's the most impactful book? And you can double down
I'm
here.
Doubling down with that millionaire.
You can double down.
Agent Keller Williams book. Yeah. I mean, I just love it. It was literally like a Bible for real estate telling me everyone wants to know what to do. And I think the issue is, a lot of people want to when you're a new agent, you just want to get all your systems and your forms in place and make it perfect. And real estate is not perfect. You just have to dive in.
Just go.
20 years later, I'm still learning new things with different new deals. And you just have to exude confidence even when you don't have it. And I think that book helps illustrate how you stay connected with people and emphasizes the importance of that. And you're still going to create systems, but I think you can kind of perfect them, and they'll never be perfect, but along the way you can change them, and everyone's going to have a different system that works for them. So I like that. And then I've been reading Sell It Like Sirhan.
Yeah.
I love his reality. I love TV, but I love his reality show. And a story he told about how he was like on his last few dollars and some billionaire or something called him. And he flew all the way on a whim to Europe to meet this guy and hope for the best and hope he was like real. Yeah. And that propelled his New York real estate career and how he did like his first, I don't know, something $million.
Everything's a million.
Yeah, everything. So like 100 million or something. It was like some major thing that propelled him by literally staying focused. Yes, I might be on my last, but let me invest in myself and invest it and show this client I'm going to fly across to Europe and try to get this deal. And the guy did. You just always have to show up.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Tiffany, it's been so great hanging out with you. Thank you so much for everything that you shared. And we will see you on the next episode.